Hello, dear scholars, dear friends, dear learners. Today we will be reading and trying to understand reproduction in plants. And this reading we are going to do from a textbook. This is from Srijan and written by Veer Balarastogi, and this is for ICSC biology. And we give full credit and thanks to everyone who has been a contributor in the creation of this book, and we are going to use it to read it. Okay, so the chapter is reproduction in plants, and this is for class 8, chapter 2 here. So we start here. Reproduction is producing new organisms of their own kind. It is one of the most important characteristics of all living beings. It multiplies the number of individuals of a population and ensures the continuity of life. So, it is important that we consider that reproduction is required for actually the continuity of life. Continuity of life. That means thousands years back also we may be having animals like the lion, the elephant, the deer. We may be having the mango tree, the tulsi shrub, but we still find them even after thousands of years, where we know that the ones that were found thousands of years back must have died by now. So they are still available for us, or they are still present. It is because of reproduction. Due to reproduction, the next generation was created, and then came the next generation, and from them came the next generation. Therefore, the species was maintained, its presence was maintained on earth, and we will call that as continuity of life. Okay. Now, modes of reproduction. Now we are strictly following the reproduction which is found in plants. So the modes of reproduction are sexual reproduction, asexual reproduction, and also through the vegetative parts or the non-sexual cells. Then they are known as the vegetative propagation. We will see all these at length. We will be reading them. Here a table has been given so that we can understand the same. Modes of reproduction in plants. First one, asexual reproduction. There are around 4 types given: fusion, budding, fragmentation, spore formation. Okay. Then sexual reproduction we know is by flowers, and through flowers, when we study about flowers, we have already studied there is pollination, followed by fertilization, then seed formation, after that dispersal of seeds, and then germination of the seed, and then a new plant is formed. Now we also have vegetative reproduction or vegetative propagation. Natural means that are done or that are seen in nature without the interference of human beings. So we can have vegetative propagation by roots, by stem, by adventitious buds on leaves. Now, artificial means that is with the intervention of human beings. Okay, so here we have by stem cutting, by layering, by grafting, by tissue culture. Okay, now we have a table out here. Let's see the difference. The table is telling us about asexual and sexual reproduction, and the first difference is in asexual reproduction, daughter cells are produced from a single parent. That means we don't need a male and female parent. A single plant will produce another plant. Okay. In sexual reproduction, we need two opposite, that is male and female parents, and therefore it is known as sexual reproduction. So when we study especially about plants, we know in the flowers we have the androecium and the gynoecium. Androecium being the male part and gynoecium being the female part. And because of these, the male and female gametes are produced, and when during fertilization they form a fertilized ovule which further develops into a seed. We know this. Then we come to the second point of difference out here. Sex cells or male or female gametes are not formed in asexual reproduction. There is no need for them there. However, the same will be definitely formed for sexual reproduction, and that's the reason we call it sexual reproduction, because two different sexes, male and female, different sexes are involved here. Zygote is not formed because there is no fertilization that happens between two gametes of male and female. However, in sexual reproduction, male and female gametes, they form a zygote after fertilization. The very first cell that is formed after fertilization is known as a zygote. We know that. Now, new individuals are identical to each other and to their parents, and we can call them as clones. So in asexual reproduction, exact replica of the parent is formed. We can say it is just like the parent. Okay, it will have the same characteristics of the parent. However, in sexual reproduction, new individuals, they will share characteristics of both the parents, both male and female characteristics of the parents that are there will be shown in the offspring. So no two offsprings will be identical except in identical twins. Okay, so we already have seen identical twins as well. So there are twins who are non-identical and there are twins who are identical, but since that comes under animal reproduction, we will not talk at length about the same. Okay, good. Now we are moving forward and we are going to read asexual reproduction. So in asexual reproduction, let's go close. Yeah, the mode of reproduction in which a single organism divides and produces two or more individuals is called asexual reproduction. So asexual reproduction is that a single organism divides and produces two or more organisms. So without the involvement of any sex cells or gametes or opposite sex, male and female, without their involvement, the reproduction is occurred. Therefore, we are calling it asexual, means not sexual. Okay. There is neither formation nor union of gametes, so there is no fertilization as mentioned. The individuals are genetically identical to the parents and also to each other. These genetically identical individuals are also known as clones. Okay, so this we have already done in the table as well, so I'm sure you've understood. Now we have some common asexual methods of reproduction seen in plants. Okay, first one is binary fission. Binary fission means to divide into two. An individual divides into two identical daughter cells. In this process, first nucleus divides into two, followed by the division of the cell, and therefore two daughter cells, identical daughter cells, are formed. And binary fission is very common in bacteria and various unicellular algae and fungi. And here we can see how it works. This is the parent cell, and then we can see that the nuclear material is getting a little bit elongated. The cell has become a little more mature and big, and here we can see that the nuclear material is divided. The cytoplasm is started to divide, and also we can see now a membrane is also covering, and two separate daughter cells are formed. This is known as binary fission. It is very common in the unicellular organism, algae and fungi. Then we come to the second one, known as budding. In budding, as we see budding here, a daughter individual arises on the parent organism as a small bud like outgrowth. As the bud grows, then it detaches from the parent cell and is formed a new individual. Budding is found in yeast. Hence, newly formed daughter cells do not separate from the present cell and form long chains of cells. So we can see here, as it's found in yeast, there is one cell and a small budding, we can see a small cell is found there, and then we can see further budding is happening, and then each of these can separate and each of them can become an individual, a mature individual yeast. So this is known as budding, where a bud is formed and it grows and it becomes a mature separate individual. Now we have this activity here to observe budding in yeast. For that, I guess they have also told us how to do it. That you need yeast powder, sugar, beaker, water, glass slide, microscope. Procedure is take some yeast powder from a baker or a chemist shop, place a pinch of yeast powder in 100 ml beaker having some lukewarm water. Add a spoonful of sugar and shake it well to dissolve sugar. After an hour or so, put a drop of this liquid on the glass slide and observe it under a microscope. Now draw a simple line diagram of what you see on the slide. Formation of new cells have been seen. Probably you'll see them like this. Anyway, let's go to the next asexual reproduction here, and that is fragmentation. So fragmentation is commonly found in the green algae like Spirogyra, and in Spirogyra their filaments may break down into two or more fragments, and each fragment grows into a new individual. It is also seen in bryophytes like mosses and liverworts. So we can see here how it is happening. Fragmentation means to break, and this is a strand of Spirogyra. It has broken into two, as we see here. This strand just broke into two, and then each grew separately as an individual. So this is fantastic. Actually, we have understood about fragmentation means to break into small parts, and then each part develops into a mature one. Then we come to spore formation. Spores are tiny, thick-walled, resistant, asexual reproductive bodies. These are produced under unfavorable conditions. It is very important to understand that spores are in most of the cases, spores are formed under the unfavorable conditions. Now they develop in a structure called the sporangium, and mature spores are released by the rupture of the sporangia, and they keep floating in the air as they are carried away. On getting a suitable condition, each spore will develop into a new plant. It occurs in fungi, bread mold, that is in mosses and ferns as well. And this is how we can see here that it's in Rhizopus. Spores are formed here. We can spore, and this is the sporangium. So the sporangium here has spores, and one fine day this will burst and all the spores will be released, and they will look for a suitable place, and once they find a suitable condition, they will grow into a new Rhizopus. Okay, so spore formation. Okay, so till now we understood about asexual reproduction, and what did we cover? We actually covered binary fission found in algae, fungi, okay, examples. Then we came to know about budding in yeast, yes, and we also covered fragmentation in Spirogyra and spore formation in Rhizopus. So these were the asexual modes of reproduction that were found in the plants. I hope we are clear with this. Okay, so this is the part 1 that we have done, and there will be following parts also to complete the next topics. Hope you liked it, and you can go through these topics, and I hope in case you have any doubts, okay, we can always clear them for you while to the comment session. Okay, thank you so much and have a great day. I enjoyed reading this portion for you. I hope you also enjoyed being with me and learning and exploring more of the science that's related to reproduction in plants. We'll continue the same in the next video. Till then, keep learning, be happy, be blessed. Thank you.